Have you ever felt trapped, not by walls of stone, but by the confines of your own mind? A sense that there's more to see, more to understand, yet you're held back by invisible barriers. This feeling is universal, a silent struggle many of us face. It's the echo of a journey humanity has contemplated for millennia, the journey out of our own mental caves. We build these caves unknowingly, brick by brick, with unquestioned beliefs, societal expectations, and the comfortable narratives we tell ourselves. They feel safe, familiar. But within these self-made confines, our true potential, our deepest understanding of ourselves and the world, can remain shrouded in shadow, just beyond our everyday sight. This isn't a new predicament. Over 2,000 years ago, the philosopher Plato explored this very human condition through a powerful allegory, the allegory of the cave. It's a story that still resonates today, offering a profound map for what he called the hardest journey, the escape from our own limited perspectives. Imagine prisoners in a deep cavern, chained since birth, facing a blank wall. All they've ever known are the shadows projected onto this wall, cast by objects moving behind them, illuminated by a fire. These flickering shadows are their entire reality, the only truth they have ever perceived. To them, the echoes of voices from those carrying the objects are the sounds of the shadows themselves. They discuss these shadows, name them, predict their movements. This is their science, their conversation, their world. They have no concept of anything beyond this carefully constructed, yet utterly false reality. Now consider, what are the shadows in our own lives? They might be the limiting beliefs we hold about ourselves. I'm not good enough. I can't change. Or perhaps they are the unquestioned narratives fed to us by our culture, our upbringing, or even the media we consume daily. These shadows can manifest as societal pressures, the relentless pursuit of material wealth, the narrow definitions of success, or the fear of not fitting in. We mistake these fleeting projections for fundamental truths, shaping our lives around illusions without ever realizing they are just that, illusions. The cave, then, is our current state of awareness, our accepted reality. It's comfortable because it's known. It's the echo chamber of our own biases, reinforced by those who share our particular cave and see the same shadows. We are, in a sense, prisoners of our own perspective. Plato asks us to imagine what would happen if one prisoner was freed, unchained, forced to turn around and see the fire and the objects that cast the shadows. The light would be painful to eyes accustomed to darkness. The objects would seem less real than the shadows he'd known. This initial glimpse beyond the shadows is confusing, even terrifying. The prisoner would likely want to return to the familiar comfort of the wall, to the truth he understood. The first step towards real knowledge is often met with resistance, a deep reluctance to let go of what we thought was certain. What are the chains that bind us to our mental caves? Often, it's the comfort of certainty, even if that certainty is based on illusion. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of being wrong, or the fear of what others might think if we dare to see differently. Our habits of thought, ingrained over years, also act as powerful chains. The mental pathways we tread daily become deep ruts, difficult to escape. Questioning these deeply embedded patterns requires immense effort and a willingness to feel unsteady, to lose our footing for a while. Society, too, can forge chains. The pressure to conform, to uphold collective illusions, can be immense. Stepping outside the accepted narrative often means risking ridicule or isolation. These are not physical chains, but their psychological weight can be just as binding. Plato suggests that the escape begins with a kind of force, a compelling pull away from the familiar. This might be an external event that shatters our worldview, or an internal stirring, a deep dissatisfaction with the shadows, a yearning for something more. This force is the spark of curiosity, the courage to ask, what if there's more than this? It's the uncomfortable itch of cognitive dissonance, when our experiences no longer quite match the stories we've been told or tell ourselves. This is the beginning of the ascent. Imagine the prisoner is then dragged, against his will, up the steep, rugged ascent out of the cave and into the sunlight. Plato emphasizes the difficulty, the pain of this journey. Growth is rarely easy. Leaving the familiar, even if it's a place of illusion, is an arduous process. The eyes, accustomed only to darkness and flickering shadows, would be dazzled by the brilliance of the sun. He wouldn't be able to see anything at first. The true forms of objects, the vibrant colors, the sheer immensity of the world outside, it would all be too overwhelming. This sun symbolizes the ultimate truth, pure knowledge, the realm of perfect forms or ideas in Plato's philosophy. It represents a reality far richer, far more complex and beautiful than the pale imitations experienced in the cave. It is the source of all understanding. Gradually, the freed prisoner's eyes would adjust. First, he might be able to see shadows in the upper world, then reflections in water, then the objects themselves. Finally, he would be able to look upon the sun itself and understand its nature as the source of all light and life. This adjustment period is crucial. True understanding doesn't arrive in a single flash of insight for most of us. It's a process of gradual acclimation, of piecing together new information, of allowing our perspective to slowly, painstakingly expand. As he beholds the world outside the cave, he would realize the poverty of his former existence. He would pity his fellow prisoners still mistaking shadows for reality. The honors and praises they bestowed upon each other for being adept shadow guessers would seem meaningless. This journey out of the cave is not just about intellectual understanding. It's a transformation of the whole self. It's about cultivating the courage to confront our deepest illusions and the humility to accept that what we thought was true might only be a fragment of a much larger picture. What does this mean for us today in our complex world? It means actively seeking out the sunlight, pursuing knowledge, challenging our assumptions, and exposing ourselves to different perspectives. It means being willing to feel uncomfortable. Your mental cave might be a career path you chose based on others' expectations. It might be a political ideology you've never critically examined. Or it could be a relationship pattern you keep repeating, unaware of the underlying beliefs driving it. The first step to escaping is to recognize that you are in a cave. This requires introspection, a willingness to observe your thoughts and beliefs without immediate judgment. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Is this truly mine or something I've inherited? Think about the fire in Plato's cave. It represents a manufactured, secondary source of illumination, not the true sun. In our lives, this could be the dominant narratives of our culture, simplified explanations, or even our own ego trying to make sense of things with limited data. The objects casting the shadows are the partial truths, the curated information, the specific stories that are highlighted while others are ignored. Who is carrying these objects in your life? Is it media, tradition, your past experiences, or your own unexamined biases? To challenge these, we must become like the freed prisoner who is forced to turn. We must actively choose to look beyond the comfortable shadows, to question the source of the light, and to examine the nature of the objects themselves. This turning can be as simple as reading a book from a completely different perspective, or engaging in a respectful conversation with someone who holds opposing views. It's about intentionally seeking out what makes you uncomfortable, what challenges your current worldview. Consider the steep and rugged ascent. This is the intellectual and emotional labor involved in breaking old habits of thought and integrating new, more complex information. It will feel like an uphill battle at times, filled with moments of confusion and doubt. When you first encounter new truths or perspectives that contradict your old shadows, you might feel disoriented, like the prisoner whose eyes are unaccustomed to the light. This is normal. Don't retreat. Allow your eyes to adjust. One practical way to begin this ascent is through mindful self-awareness. Pay attention to your automatic reactions, your knee-jerk judgments. Where do they come from? Are they based on fresh assessment or on old, shadowy programming? Another step is to embrace intellectual humility. Recognize that your current understanding, no matter how well earned, is likely incomplete. This openness is the doorway out of the cave. The moment you think you know everything, the cave walls solidify around you. Seek out diverse sources of information and wisdom. Don't just stay within your intellectual comfort zone. The sunlight is found in the confluence of many rays, not just one. Engage with ideas that stretch your mind and challenge your beliefs. Understand that this journey is often solitary, at least in its initial, most challenging phases. Others still comfortable in their cave may not understand your quest. They might even try to pull you back to the familiar shadows. Your conviction must come from within. The light of the sun, true understanding, isn't just factual knowledge. It's a profound shift in perception. It's seeing the interconnectedness of things, the deeper patterns, the underlying principles that govern reality, beyond the surface appearances. When you begin to see this broader reality, the concerns of the cave, the petty squabbles, the fixation on fleeting illusions, start to lose their power over you. You gain a sense of perspective, a deeper calm, even amidst chaos. This doesn't mean detachment from life, but a more profound engagement with it, based on clearer seeing. You can navigate challenges with more wisdom, make choices more aligned with your deeper values, because you're not just reacting to shadows anymore. Plato also suggests that the one who has seen the sun would feel compelled to return to the cave, to try and free the others. This, however, is fraught with peril. His eyes, now accustomed to light, would struggle in the darkness. He'd seem clumsy, foolish. The prisoners, comfortable in their ignorance, might mock him, or even become hostile. They might not believe his tales of an outside world, preferring the familiar reality of their shadows. This is the tragic challenge of trying to share a truth that others are not ready to receive. While Plato's allegory includes this return, our primary focus should be on our own ascent. Forcing enlightenment on others is rarely effective. The most powerful way to inspire is to embody the change, to live with the wisdom gained from your own journey out of the cave. So how do you begin to identify your own mental cave? Start by noticing your discomforts. Where do you feel stuck, frustrated, or limited in life? These feelings are often signposts, indicating an area where your current shadows are no longer serving you. Question your shoulds and musts. Many of these are inherited chains, assumptions about how life is supposed to be lived. I should be married by now. I must have a prestigious career. Ask, says who, and is this true for me? Embrace beginner's mind. Approach new information or situations as if you know nothing. This humility opens you up to learning, rather than just filtering everything through your existing biases, the walls of your cave. Practice critical thinking, not just about the world, but about your own thought processes. Are your conclusions logical? Are they based on evidence or on emotion and assumption? Become a gentle interrogator of your own mind. Be patient with yourself. The journey out of a mental cave is not a race. There will be setbacks, moments when you slip back into old patterns. This is part of the process. The key is to keep turning towards the light, however faintly you perceive it. The shadows are not inherently evil. They are simply incomplete. They are the mind's attempt to make sense of limited information. Our task is not to demonize our past understanding, but to gently transcend it, seeking a fuller, more luminous perspective. Remember, the prisoner was initially pained by the light. New truths can be uncomfortable. They can shatter cherished illusions or force us to reevaluate our entire lives. This discomfort is a sign of growth, not a reason to retreat. What small step can you take today to widen your perspective? Perhaps it's listening, truly listening, to someone you disagree with, not to argue, but to understand. Or reading an article on a topic you know little about. The journey out of the cave is deeply personal. Your cave is unique to you, built from your experiences, beliefs, and fears. Therefore, your path out will also be unique. Trust your inner compass, that quiet yearning for something more. This hardest journey is not about achieving some perfect, static state of enlightenment. It's about embracing a lifelong process of learning, questioning, and growing. It's about choosing, again and again, to step out of the shadows and into greater light. Consider the relief and joy of the prisoner once his eyes adjust to the sun. There is a profound liberation in seeing things as they are, or at least more clearly than before. This is the promise of the journey, a deeper connection to truth and to yourself. Each time you question an old assumption, each time you choose understanding over judgment, each time you embrace a new perspective, you are taking a step out of your mental cave. These are not small victories, they are acts of profound courage. The warmth of the sun, in Plato's allegory, also represents goodness and beauty. As we move towards truth, we often find ourselves more aligned with these qualities, cultivating them within ourselves and recognizing them more readily in the world. Don't be afraid to revisit old caves. Sometimes we think we've escaped one, only to find ourselves in a slightly larger, more subtly shadowed one. The process of self-discovery is iterative. Each layer revealed brings new opportunities for growth. The journey out of the cave is, in essence, the journey towards authenticity. It's about stripping away the false selves, the conditioned responses, the adopted beliefs, to uncover who you truly are beneath the layers of illusion. As your eyes adjust to more light, you'll find that the world is far more nuanced, more complex, and often more wondrous than the simple shadow play you were accustomed to. This richness is a reward in itself. This isn't just an ancient philosophical exercise. It's a vital practice for navigating our modern world, with its overwhelming flow of information and competing narratives. The ability to discern shadows from substance is more critical than ever. So take a moment today, reflect on one belief you hold strongly. Ask yourself, what if the opposite were true? Or what if there's a perspective I haven't even considered? This simple act of questioning can be the first crack of light in your cave wall. The hardest journey, as Plato described, is indeed challenging, but it is also the most rewarding. It's the path to intellectual freedom, to emotional resilience, and to a deeper, more meaningful engagement with life itself. The essence of Plato's message is not that we are flawed for being in a cave, but that we possess the inherent capacity to seek the light. It's a testament to the human spirit's unyielding desire for truth and understanding. This journey requires courage, the courage to face uncertainty, the courage to be different, and the courage to admit we might have been mistaken. This courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to proceed despite it. Remember, the prisoner who saw the sun eventually understood its role as the source of all. This is akin to grasping fundamental principles. Once you understand the why behind things, the how becomes clearer. The escape from your mental cave isn't about rejecting your past experiences, but integrating them into a larger, more illuminated understanding. Every shadow you've known can teach you something about the nature of light, once you see it for what it is. Cultivate a sense of wonder. The world outside the cave, the world of deeper understanding, is vast and full of marvels. Let curiosity be your guide, pulling you forward, eager to discover what lies beyond the next horizon of your current perception. The chains can be subtle. They can be the comfort of agreement within your social circle, the fear of disrupting harmony, or even the intellectual pride of believing you've already figured things out. Be vigilant for these more refined forms of confinement. The journey is ultimately one of liberation, not just from external constraints, but from the internal tyranny of unexamined thoughts and beliefs. This inner freedom is a source of profound peace and resilience, a treasure worth any effort. As you step further into the light, you may find compassion deepens for yourself, for your past illusions, and for others who are still navigating their own caves. Understanding diminishes judgment and fosters empathy. The path out of the cave is not a destination, but a way of living, a commitment to ongoing growth, to fearless inquiry, and to embracing the ever-expanding vistas of understanding that life offers to those willing to seek. So ask yourself today, what shadow am I ready to question? What new light am I willing to step into? The hardest journey may indeed be within, but it is also the one that leads to your truest, most expansive self. Begin.